was reading how much you really love the films of Mike Nichols, and I love how The Graduate, you think it's going to be one movie, it's a coming of age story, but ultimately it becomes about something more about life. And I found that really resonant. And with Come Play, you get in and you think it's going to be a scare a minute type of thriller, and it is, but there's so much more resonance and so much deep humanity with it. Can you just talk about giving people kind of two movies for the price of one with your storytelling, which I found fascinating?
Well, thank you. I mean, yeah, Mike Nichols was long a hero of mine. I mean, a filmmaker that very much look up to. And I think what you talk about in terms of the film being very scary and visceral, but also having a lot of heart. For me, a lot of movies I grew up with do that. Especially the early Spielberg movies, E.T., Jaws. Like these are films that really they scare you, they entertain you, they're full of thrills. I mean, flying bikes, right? But like when you actually like think about them, what you think about is the emotion. You think about the characters and who you care about. And for me, that's when I was writing it, the horror was the icing on top, but for me, it was about the characters first and foremost.
Speaking of the characters, I see a lot of movies, and this is one of those rare movies where almost all of the characters, in their own subtle fashion, take accountability for their actions. Can you just talk about putting that little hidden element within just the fabric of your narrative? I found that very fascinating.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you noticed that kind of thing. I think having characters that are people that take responsibility for their actions and accountability and that ultimately are good, well-meaning people. I know it's hard to think this way because of the internet and the news, but I do think generally people want to do good and people want to care about each other and people love one another. And so I think bringing something into the world that is warm and loving and compassionate, that's important to me. I think the more of that we see in films, the more that does rub off on people.
So you are, along with being a director, you cut your teeth on editing. And again, I was looking back at your past interview. Orson Welles is another filmmaker you really love. Is a lot of people don't talk about his editing style when it comes to his movies. Did you pick that up as an editor? And is that one of the reasons why you love Welles, as far as the way he approaches cinema via the editing gaze?
Well, Orson Welles, what he does so well was, everything felt very carefully choreographed and planned. Every edit felt always predetermined. Of course, in filmmaking, that's not always the case. You want things, and we can talk about things in the past as like, oh, that was always meant to be that way. But it really does feel precise. I mean, a lot of filmmakers do that, but certainly Orson Welles' work was a huge influence on me, and same with Hitchcock does that as well. So I do think, having been an editor for many years, it does play a huge part in how you write a script, how you direct it, because sort of the pacing you're trying to get. But at the same time, you find things in the edit. We had an amazing editor in Greg Plotkin, and some of it is exactly as I planned, but a lot of it is stuff we found in the edit as we learned as we went.
Jacob, thank you so much for your time, and sort of not thank you for making me cry at the end. Okay, so thank.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that.
All right, take care, man.